Hey guys, hopefully you can hear me. I'm going to flip the camera around here. And, oh, orientation is locked. What? That's terrible. That's no good. So, apparently orientation is locked. That's not a lot of fun. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Give me a thumbs up. Looking for the live chat. There's the live chat. Looks like everything's working properly, except the angle is dumb. So we do have a fix for that. You guys are going to have to be sideways for a minute here. Maybe we've got a fix for that. Oh, there we go. I don't really want it like that, but that's the way it is. Oh, we got a thumbs up. There we go. Well, I guess that's how we're rocking things today. We're doing the vertical shot. Oh, Katie's supposed to be helping out. Unfortunately, she's dealing with some other stuff right now. We'll start off with the normal monologue that we start off with. So you guys are getting a sneak peek at this because the canopy in the background is a plane that we're going to be working on tonight that we haven't had a single video come out yet. So tomorrow's video is about the Rebel. Obviously it's a Rebel because it says right there. But tomorrow's video is about the Rebel, the unboxing, the first video, and we are well into construction at this point. So that's what tomorrow's content is on. It's going to be a good one. Really quick build on this Rebel, but we're doing a lot of cool things on it as well. It's been a crazy week and a half. Why has it been a crazy week and a half? Well, when I look over there, I still see some loaner radios. The loaner radios were part of, obviously, the radio test. Ward's manning the camera right now. I don't know if you can see any of the comments there, Ward, or questions, but if you guys have any comments or questions, list them there. The radio test was interesting, very interesting. There's been a lot of crazy comments from one manufacturer in particular. I don't want to knock them because I never knocked them in the video. The radio test video, obviously they didn't spend the time watching the video because I made a lot of positive comments on that video about every radio system. So how's it going there, Ward?
Oh, we got a hi from Tasmania again.
Awesome. Howdy.
Hear from him again. And
so the radio test was definitely interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to go into it or do a follow-up video, but I don't know if people don't realize that I'm on the forums. So there's a big, huge discussion on RC groups. I've been reading every comment in there. It's quite amusing. There's a big discussion on the Powerbox forum. I'm a member on the Powerbox forum. That's been really interesting as well too, to see the different slanders from all the Powerbox supporters. And it's also been cool to see you guys jump in there and support the radio tests that we did. And a few of the comments, I've gotten emails from certain people, and it's been a real crazy week and a half. So there's a stool there, Ward, if you want to sit down. I might give you in the good spot. So that's been the week and a half. It's been pretty nuts. Lots of crazy emails, lots of crazy comments. I still haven't made it through all the comments on the giveaway video. We are giving away a Wicked fuel system, so I think we already put it away. Oh, let me grab the fuel system. Give me 2 seconds. Thank you. And this is actually, go ahead.
hello from Searcy in Arkansas.
Nice. Hey. This has been the first Rebel I've ever put together fully. So I've helped on a couple of them, but I've never put one together myself. So it's a really nice plane. All right. Good thing this is almost empty. So Fuel jug, fuel system from Joe from RC Custom 3D Printing. We did the last video we did, which would have been Wednesday. We did a review on this unit, and I think that was Wednesday's video. Let me just look at the menu there. Yeah, the fuel jug system. So we did a review on this, the fueling system. Yesterday I was out for the second time using this thing, putting a whole bunch of fuel through it, and it's awesome. We're giving one of these away, so if you're watching this live, I'm assuming you've watched that video. If you haven't watched that video, go watch the video for the review on the fueling system, because we are giving one of these away for free. So Joe from RC Custom 3D Printing supplied the unit. I'll ship it to you, and there's a couple things in the video that you need to do to enter, but that's basically it. So really cool system. Been very happy with this. The Graylor pump, of course, is going to be rock solid for a long time. They're great pumps, but this has been a pleasure to be able to use. So that's been the week. We drove down to Montana to deliver a few planes. That was the F4 that we built last year, and Kelly's F18 we delivered. So those are now out of the shop. The shop feels a little bit empty, but that is all changing very soon. We've got a lot of planes en route. So obviously the Rebel showed up this week. We got started on that. Probably by the end of this weekend, the Rebel will be done. That's the goal. We've got next week, what's showing up next week? I don't know if I want to say, you guys know about this already. Skymaster SU30 is showing up next week. And I think the week after, we have a massive BVM project showing up, which is going to be good. And the F14 XL, that is in decal right now. So it's getting its decals put on. And we got tons of projects this winter, guys. It's going to be a busy winter. The Super Bandit that we've been working on, that we worked on in last video, we have put that on hold for the past week. We were trying to find the little tail pieces. We did manage to find the tail pieces, which is a huge plus. So we will hop back on that Super Bandit, because that needs to be done by the end of September to go to paint. So that is kind of how things are looking. Went flying yesterday. It was awesome. Tons of fun going flying, and we flew the Strega a bunch more. It was a blast. I think we're up to 10 flights now on the Strega, and it's been a ton of fun flying that thing. Want me to squish that down for you?
Yeah.
Sorry guys, camera mod. And if you can hear yelling in the background, well, we've got a bunch of kidlets running around the house from a friend that's over helping us out. So yeah, we went flying yesterday, got a bunch of flights on the Strega. It's sounding better and better every flight. It is such a pleasure to fly that thing. Flew the Superland yesterday. We flew the A10 yesterday, the Ranger. Yeah, lots of great flying yesterday. So let's take a look at the Rebel here. This is going to be way ahead of the videos. Like tomorrow's video isn't even on what we're doing here tonight. This will be like future videos by leaps and bounds. So we today got the tail complete on the Rebel. So the elevators or horizontal stabs are done. Vertical is done. The inside's painted. We got the tank all done. We're just pressure testing the tank. Leak testing the tank to make sure there's no leaks. So that has been the Rebel so far. I haven't done anything with the wings yet, but we are working right now on the exhaust pipe. And there's a couple special things with the exhaust pipe that we're doing. Once the exhaust pipe has done our special things, we'll be putting that back in and ready for probably to go to wings, I think, is going to be the next natural progression. So
Edward wants to know if you're Gardo. I guess he wants to know if you're going to post flying videos soon.
I don't know if we have any more flying videos. Like we did all the maidens on all the planes that we could this year. I don't do a lot of flying videos. I kind of stopped doing event videos. like I would do in the past. And the reason I stopped doing the event videos is when I'm going to the events, I kind of just like to fly and relax and have fun. If I'm trying to video, it just takes up so much time, and it really cuts down on my enjoyment of the event. So maybe it's a little bit selfish, but that's why I've stopped videoing at any of the events. And yeah, some of the events we've been going to this year, it's kind of been a mixture of different planes, so not necessarily all jets or whatever. But
Velocity Addiction crashed his 1.2 Elite Corsair last weekend.
oh no.
He assembled a 1.4 Freewing P-51 Old Crow last night as a replacement.
Well, that's a good replacement. That's awesome. And as per normal, as we go through this, I'll be talking with you guys, answering questions and such, but also trying to remember to record the actual video for the regular videos. So what we've been doing here on the Rebel pipe is there is 2 springs in the Rebel exhaust. So there's like a coily spring back here, a coily spring around the front. That's to keep the outer wall centered between the inner pipe and the outer pipe. The problem is that spring isn't fastened to anything. So what we've been doing is tie wiring the spring in place. So just been drilling 2 holes and then running the safety wire through there. So now the spring on the front end is safety wired in place, and we just have to do the safety wire around the spring in the back end. So that's what we're working on right now.
Looks like a diesel truck exhaust tip.
Yeah, totally, eh? It probably, I'm curious now, what's the diameter of this thing?
Kelly just checked in.
Hey, Kelly. So this pipe on the Rebel, this is a Rebel Classic, by the way, is 3.5 inches. And for the millimeters, so it's a 90 millimeter pipe. So yeah, 3.5 inches. So yes, this front spring was probably a little bit easier than this back one because the back one is buried in there, so I don't really know how we're gonna get in there so easy. So that's gonna be a little bit tricky, but Dr. John can probably make it work.
And Sheldon Campbell from Denver just checked in.
Hey Sheldon, thanks for tuning in. So again, getting back to the radio test, thank you to all of you guys that have commented on the different posts and forums and comments.
William D said hi, John and Ward. Hello.
Because I'll tell you guys, the number of people that are absolutely butthurt about that radio test is, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. I've been keeping notes on my phone of certain comments from certain people just so I had access to them. I don't know if I'll ever actually use them or need them for anything, but it's interesting to have them.
Velocity Addiction says very interesting results in your radio tests.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people, a very common comment was, this isn't a true test of range or anything like that. Well, that really wasn't the intention. You know, we took 7 or 8 radios, we set up a certain set of parameters, and every radio was tested against that parameter. So does it mean anything? Well, not really, I guess. Like, if you're, it doesn't really give you a true range of the radio, obviously, because we were on the ground, but it gives you a true range of each radio in that scenario. So just take the information for what it is. I know lots of people that, for example, I was flying yesterday with a friend. He flies Futaba. We're still friends, you know. He's not giving up his Futaba radio because of the test I did. All the radio systems are fine. Pick one you like, fly it, and enjoy it.
Ronnie Malone said two RCs for over 50 years. Built many models from scratch. Built one from manufacturing in Quebec.
Nice.
The English version of their manual for them. He wrote.
Was that MR Aero Designs by chance?
David Sofer says thanks for the spring separators.
You betcha, David. My pleasure. I was going to try and use rivets here, but I was going to drill a hole in front of the spring and behind the spring and put 2 rivets in there, so we'd have to do like 6 rivets per spring. Problem with that is, I don't know if you can get this on camera. The spring is so wide open that the rivets, I don't think, unless we got some really long ones that were probably pushing into the inner pipe, I don't think that they would be a good permanent solution. So that's why we're doing the safety wire. So.
Kevin Villeneuve did C of G on his Byron 51 1 hour ago.
Nice.
What a surprise, doing something different. Put the power in the power engine set up in it.
Excellent. Anybody else sad that it feels like winter's almost here? I guess it depends on what part of the world you're in. But our leaves are starting to change. It's starting to get colder at night.
Kevin Villeneuve said, missed not having you at the last ALA event.
Yeah. That was the corn roast. I can't remember why. Oh, the weather. That's why.
He says he hopes you can make the wind-up event.
Yeah, I hope so too. Kevin, what day is the wind-up event? If you don't mind reminding me. I probably have it in my calendar, but I can't look it up because you guys are on my phone.
Nick Furmish says it's spring here in New Zealand. Of course it is.
Yeah.
I'll be there sometime.
So I feel like Dr. John doing this because you got to like weave there we go. Weave the safety wire in.
And Waz Boogie says it started spring here in Australia.
Yep. Lucky guys, lucky guys. But you know what? The thing I like about winter here is build season. So we start to get geared up for build season, and that's it. Like 6 months of hardcore building planes. I love it. And Mr. LA Jet guy definitely keeps me hopping busy.
Kelly says, feels like winter in the FAA are looming.
Yeah.
He also wants to know, any ice cream?
They're actually, so that's the reason Katie's not here right now, is a little boring inside stuff, but the electrician's over right now, wiring in the big ice cream maker that we picked up. So
Stacy says he's bummed about winter, and David, you will have a busy winter season.
yes, it'll be very busy. And is that what he said?
Yep.
Here, Ward, I'm going to put a microphone on you. So make sure you don't say any bad words.
Uh-oh.
Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, it's going to be a busy, busy winter. Looking forward to it. Well, if you look at the rack, though, we've got lots of, well, I guess my planes aren't in here yet. That's the thing. But
It's empty. It's got to be
yep,
filled.
lots of room on the rack. And we are going to put another rack over there. So we got lots of room for planes. Lots of room. All right, last tie wire here, I hope.
David says you got to make room for the XXL jets.
I know. The XXL jets are going to be insane. Yazzie, you coming to join the party?
Katie is here.
Do you need me?
No, if you're busy, we got it. Huh?
We just made our first batch of ice cream.
Oh, did ya?
Yeah,
And?
it's good. I didn't make it with my base because I didn't have any thawed, but we were making it for the
Yeah.
And it was like 8 minutes.
Oh, wow. There you go, Kelly. We got ice cream.
He wants to know where his F-18 is.
The F-18's up there.
It's already flying by strings.
Okay. Thanks, honey.
He says David says the XXL jets will not fit in those racks.
No, they won't fit in the racks.
We have to custom make more.
Well, we're gonna build a lower version of that rack there. Yeah. Anyways, we'll sort it out. There's lots of different ways to create more storage
More
space.
to that space there.
Exactly. Okay, so we've got our fasteners done here. So we've got 3 per spring is what we did. So that shouldn't be going anywhere. I got to video that for the regular stuff.
Well, Boogie says hi, Katie and Nez, but she's already gone.
Yeah. Well, Nez is here. She's hiding over there. All right, guys, so we got the... All right, try that again. All right, so we got the exhaust pipe springs all fastened. You can see there we did some safety wire. So fairly simple solution. Just drilled 2 holes. Really easy to drill through the outer pipe because it's aluminum, the inner one's stainless. And just fed some safety wire through there. So we did 3 per spring. So 3 on the front, 3 on the back. And this is going to make sure that the spring doesn't move at all because as I've already mentioned, there's nothing capturing that spring in the actual tailpipe. So next thing we can do is we can install the tailpipe. Now one of the downsides here is I like to rivet my bell mouth onto the opening of the tailpipe. We can't do that, unfortunately. Well, we can. The problem is if we rivet it, the only way to get it out is to drill out the rivets. That becomes an absolute nightmare. So we're going to skip that. We're going to stay with the standard bolt and nut setup, but we're going to put some probably some CA on the threads of the bolts. Once everything's all threaded together, we're going to use lock nuts. That's going to be probably the best solution we have to put that bell mouth on.
And Kelly says, be back later. If not, see you later.
Sounds good. Say hi to Klaus for me.
Victor gave David a fist bump.
Nice.
Nick says it's weird, minus 15 Celsius odd, now 20 degrees blue skies.
That's a big temperature change.
That's what we get.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so this is not going to be a ton of fun, but we'll make it work. So we've got all of our wires and stuff run against the side of the fuselage. So all that stuff in the back end is done. We've run our wiring forward. Now we need to try and fish this thing back through and attach the bell mouth.
Keith Vinu says, what a surprise to see his eagle on the front page of Mac.
Oh, yeah. It's always surprising when your plane shows up on the front page of Mac, I find. It's happened to me a few times, and I'm always like, hey, that's cool.
He says, Tigers RC wants to know what motor you plan to using for the Rebel.
Ooh, good question. We've got something fun for that. I'll show you guys in a minute. There we go. So we've got a cool engine setup for this plane. So basically this is the first Zykoy 130. It's still labeled as a 120, but I don't know if there's going to be options. I'm not super familiar with this, but basically we've got a Zykoy 120. This is with the new Uptune, which I think is 130 or 132 newtons. And so this is what this engine's going to now come as. So nice, tiny little engine for this plane. The other cool thing about this engine in this plane is it fits. Well, I mean, it fits beautifully. So it fits perfectly in between those rails. It's just a great fitting engine. And of course, the color does match too, which I didn't really think about until right now.
Well, Nick says, interesting color scheme.
Yeah. Yeah, the Voodoo's super cool. If you watch tomorrow's video, when you see this thing together with the wings on and the white, it's phenomenal. I love it. As I was unwrapping this thing from the box, I unwrapped the tail first, the tail, then the wings, and I was like, I don't know if I like this. And then once we got the fuselage out and I saw that little white they added on the front, I was hooked. Such a nice plane. Wings are over here. Hi, Nezzy. So here's the wings. The underside is fairly mild with colors, and then the top is pretty awesome. A lot more busy and lighter colored.
You're going to see that in the air.
Yeah, well, and it's a nice difference too, right? Because you got such a busy yellow-green color scheme and then more of a solid purple. So I think it'll be really nice. Nezzy. So yeah, that's the engine that's going in here. I think it's a great fit for the plane as well. I mean, a lot of people put a 140-ish size engine in this plane, and it's just perfect for this size
Keith
airframe.
says, think racing, just double it.
Yeah. Well, the Super Bandit, which is substantially smaller plane, that's getting, I think, a 185 is what it's getting. So
Gonna see if we can break the sound barrier.
yeah, that's going to be pretty nuts. Okay, so we got the pipe sitting in there. Now we need to attach the bell mouth. One of the things I didn't do, which I should have done when we did the bell mouth, was I didn't mark which way is the top, but it's fairly easy to figure out because it was already mounted in the plane. So we've got our holes on the side there, which means that our top is there. So not that big of a deal.
David says X195 in Super Bandit.
Jeez. Oh, 195, yeah,
Yep.
That's right. Crazy. Okay, I need some light in here. How is it, man, in the camera, Ward?
Too much moving around.
Normally you're my light man. There we go. So this is one of the things that I wish you could do.
Thanks, Keith. I work hard at this. He said, nice job.
That's the only thing that I guess my only beef with this aircraft, and it would be possible with some modifications, but I would like to have that bell mouth mounted to the pipe. That would involve cutting out these rails though, and not just cutting them out to one step, cutting them out to this back step, which isn't worth it in my mind. So, but otherwise, awesome. Not a big deal. Easy to work on too. So,
Ronnie Malone says the bird from the AMRC was similar to the current Loadmaster 100, a little smaller, powered by a 50cc gasser.
nice. This.
Edgardo says it will be interesting landing with a 195.
Yeah. It's a good thing it's got a massive air brake. And we've got lots of throw on the air brake too. Yeah, you got to remember that this comes down from the underside, and we got like 85 degrees of angle. So it's quite the air brake on this.
Plus, maybe put a string and a rock on it.
Yeah.
It drops down into the ground.
Put a tail hook on it.
Yeah, grabs, stops the car, stops it right now.
All right, this is probably the least fun step of all of this.
You have to put a chute on it.
Yeah. Sorry guys, just give me 2 seconds here.
Rollback built RC says it's actually not bad with a 195.
Oh, that's Patrick.
Yeah, I guess Stacy says you need a matching Voodoo P51, David.
Oh, yes you do, David. That would be cool. That'd be very cool.
Nick says the Rebel pretty popular in New Zealand. The last jet fly I went to a couple months ago had 4 of them on a 22 feetish long mid-range one for sale at 9,500 New Zealand.
Yeah, they're popular planes in North America here as well. I mean, they fly really nice, which is part of the reason why they're so popular. And then, of course, they're a CARF kit, which is another reason they're so popular, because CARF does make great aircraft. So that's a few of the reasons. They're pretty affordable too. Like I think they run 2,600 or something US on the CARF website, and so pretty good value on them as well for this size. Anyway, sorry, I should clarify that.
Nick says, correction, it was, big one was 22 feet long.
Holy crapola! That's a big plane.
Rollback wants to know Electron gear.
No, in this one it's JP landing gear. Ward, if you go show them in the wing there, it's already mounted in the wing.
There she is.
So yeah, JP gear, but we are putting a Zykoi controller in there, a landing gear controller. This is what we're covering in the video tomorrow. Oh, here it is. Yeah, so we're going to be using the Zykoi controller on the gear.
And David says, got matching EA DBXs coming.
Oh, nice. Yep. So that means you really need a Strega, a Voodoo. Okay. So this is pretty much a terrible thing to be working on because it's really not that exciting, but the pipe needs to be mounted, so. So as per normal, if you guys have any questions, ask away.
Rollback built RC says they go together very nice.
Yes, they do. We're doing
Great work,
some.
Jonathan.
Thank you.
Sheldon Campbell says he has a Swin 240 in his. Not flown yet. As a dealer for Swin, do you have any info on the 240 and any updates coming for it?
I don't have any additional information. I had an issue, I think we talked about this last time. I had an issue with mine beginning of July. They replaced it. So far that engine's been good, but I know there's, I think Bad Boys down in Arizona is not selling any of their 220s, 240s right now. So, but yeah, I don't have any, no additional information at this point.
Nick says quicker assembly on the next P51. And Edgardo, he missed the size of the Rebel.
This one is the Classic. So it's, I think it's 2 meters, 2 meter wingspan, I believe. But yeah, it's the Classic model is which one it is.
See you later, David. David's got to go. He'll pick up later. Thanks a lot, Jonathan.
You betcha. Yeah, this is a great size plane. It's one of those planes that is really such a perfect size because you can fit it in most vehicles really easy. It's fuel efficient, still decent size, so you could see it fairly easy. So what I'm doing here is I'm also just turning the pipe so I can work on all sides of it rather than trying to get the bolts done up on the underside. And then we are using red Loctite to put it together. Now the downside of using anything on the nuts and bolts like this is that the heat from the engine will normally soften anything up. So if you're using CA or Loctite or anything like that, it's going to be essentially non-permanent. But hopefully it's far enough away with the red Loctite that it works. And then we'll put some CA on the threads as well, just to make sure they're as stuck as possible. How's that look? Good?
Yeah. He'll start to swear soon, so
No.
I got my finger on the beep button. Okay. Sheldon Campbell said 27200 is a high temp red Loctite.
Yeah. But, yeah. It still eventually melts, I guess, or breaks down. I don't know what the correct terminology would be.
Cool Cat said, "Hey everyone, good evening, Jonathan." I'm assuming Jonathan's wife behind the camera.
Nope.
Nope,
That
my
would be
boobs aren't
Ward.
big enough. My legs aren't as nice.
No, Katie's busy, so we got Ward behind the camera tonight. All right, last one. I'm starting to sweat. Come on, baby. There we go. So one of the fun things we have planned for this plane, and this kind of just came up this afternoon, is we're going to hide all of the equipment in this plane. Now obviously there's limitations to that, so take it with a grain of salt, but when you look in here, it's going to look like there's a battery in the front, there's landing gear right here, your UAT's there, fuel tank is sitting here, engine's back there, and that's it. You're not going to see anything. So we have some fun things planned for this one, and it's still going to be easy to work on and all that stuff, but
Wait for the video.
Yeah, wait for the video. It'll be good. We got it all planned out. And the other thing we were debating was painting the inside of the aircraft. Again, you guys get an insight to this. So the fuselage weighed 2,130 grams before paint, and after paint it weighed 2,160 grams. So all the interior flat or primer that we did and the speckled finish added 30 grams or an ounce of weight, which is nothing. So yeah, it's not really a huge cause for concern with painting the inside, and it looks so much better, which is important to me. I care about how it looks.
Edgardo says, with the custom paint, is it a lot difference about price comparing with the standard paint scheme?
No, they've got it listed on their websites. I think it's only a couple $100 more. It's not bad.
Cool Cat says equipment. Okay.
Come on, baby. Okay, last one. All right. There we go. Okay, so we got them all done up. So they're all done up, they're all tight, they're all Loctited. And now what we'll do is we'll put some medium CA on each of the nuts as well. And that's just going to give it one more extra little bit of protection to make sure that it doesn't come loose. I think we're sealed. Don't do this at home, it's not a good idea.
He always eats some.
There we go. But it works. So we'll just cover the threads, spray some kicker, and now we'll rotate back the other direction.
Cool Cat says, I do hope by equipment you mean a very powerful RID spoofer.
Yeah, you guys are UUSians. That's an interesting, well, I mean, it's going to go, it's eventually, if it, I don't know what the real deal is, but it sure doesn't sound like a lot of fun. I mean, we're having our own issues this year. It's been interesting, but we're dealing with it. Okay, so pipe goes like that.
As long as it doesn't go into your eyes, you will be fine.
That goes there.
And we got Phil in England.
Oh, England.
It's 2:41.
Phil, you're supposed to be in bed. Okay, so yeah, that worked out good. So the stock location for the pipe here, if you want to come around backward. So this was the, I think they call it the ARF Plus or something like that from CARF. So what they do is they install the pipe, they install the landing gear, the tank's installed. So you only pay, the amount you pay is almost nothing. But this distance sticking out right here is all preset from CARF if you want to get a side shot there. So we're essentially just putting this pipe exactly back where it was. So I think it's a good distance as well because we're splitting the difference here. So we're sticking out a little bit on the bottom. We're a little bit recessed on the top, so it's kind of a good balance. The pipe's got an angle cut to it as well, but we're just putting it back exactly where it was is how we're managing it. Okay, so
Cool Cat says, in from England too, but no, it's in the pipeline. I fight for my American and Canadian brothers.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's been a pretty much a lot of our flying fields are back up and running. There are still a few that are not up and running, which is not fun. Okay, guys, so when I do and I'll record this, so it'll be twice, but when I do a screw like this, so we've got a wood screw screwed into the, through the bell mouth into the former work here, holding the pipe in place. So what I'll do is I'll put some thin CA on the wood screw, and what kind of does two things. Number one, it hardens up the threads, but it also locks that screw in place so it's not going to back out. I get questioned on that a fair bit and get called interesting names saying I don't know what I'm doing, but it works really well and locks the screw in place really well too. So I'll just put some thin CA on there and screw her in. Now we may have to do some adjustments on the bell mouth depending on where the engine's sitting, and that's where we want to do this. So I'm not going to screw the other side of the bell mouth in until we get everything adjusted properly. So this side's fastened, that side is not. We're going to lay the engine in place and see how things get centered out. But first,
Turbine says good morning to all from Holland.
howdy.
It's 3:44.
Oh my goodness, sounds like you're waking up
Yeah,
about the same time, right?
yeah, that's my time. That's why I like going to Europe. It's no difference in my time for me.
All right, so we've got the pipe installed, we've got the bell mouth installed. Now we used the stock hardware, used red Loctite, and then we went and put some medium CA on each of the nuts and bolts and sprayed some kicker on there. So everything is nice and tight there. We've fastened one side of the bell mouth here with the stock screw. This is all positioned as per the kit, so it's all came this way from CARF. Now we put a little bit of thin CA on the screw, screwed that in place. We left this side loose so we can get our final adjustments done with in relation to the pipe versus the engine position. So we're going to grab the engine now, set it in here, and just see how it fits in the pipe without making any adjustments.
Keith says he does the same with Med CA. And Cool Cat says, are you going to need any heat proofing around the pipe?
No, there's a lot of space in there. And the other thing is so if the pipe's this long, the outer pipe is about half that distance. So there's quite a bit of airflow through there. And the whole point of pipe designs, and you guys may know this, so if you do know this, bear with me. You'll always see on a well-designed pipe, I mean, maybe it's not like this on bad designed pipes, but you'll always see the inner pipe is slightly recessed compared to the outer wall of the pipe. So what this does is this creates a Venturi effect. So as air, the exhaust gases, come out of the inner pipe, I think it creates a low pressure right in this section right here, and that sucks air between the two walls of the pipe. That's the Venturi effect. So as the turbine's running, it's also pulling air in between those two layers, which helps cool things down. So that's why it's designed that way. Hi, Nezzy.
Nick Fernage says, nice short pipe run.
Yeah, it is nice for sure. I could definitely see myself owning one of these aircraft. I'm not I don't like saying this, but I'm not a huge fan of owning a belly button aircraft. And belly button, that's kind of my coined term. I've heard other people say it, but it's an aircraft that a lot of people own, basically, is what it is. But this is a really nice plane. So that's kind of what we're looking for position of engine. So what we'll do now is we'll just take a view down the tailpipe. And as he's missing her chair. There you go, buddy. See? Brought her chair over for her, now she's getting back in.
Supervisory chair.
Yeah. So important when you do this, you kind of have to get your head in the center spot. I don't know if you're going to be able to capture this on camera. I always struggle, but I make sure that my head's positioned up and down in the center of the pipe, and that looks really darn good. Really close. I think we need to go down a little bit on the pipe. Make a little adjustment there. think right about there. Sorry,
Nick
sneaking in there.
says she's assembling really well and quick.
Yeah, it's a quick plane. It's an easy one for sure. So one of the things that I'm always looking at here, it actually looks like the engine has a little bit of down angle to it. And the way I can tell is, I don't know if you guys will be able to see, but if you look in there, what you're looking at is the exhaust cone. Ward, you got to keep that camera still.
I know, I'm trying to.
So if you look at the tailpipe or the exhaust cone of the turbine, you can see more of the top of the turbine versus the bottom. So I'll see if I can get my finger in there. So when you look at this section right here, if that's showing up, it looks like it's at a bit of an angle because you can see more of this top section versus the underside section. So if I take that turbine and tilt it up a little bit, that's what I kind of feel like this needs, just slightly. But we'll have to play with that some more and see.
It can be exhausting.
Wow. Full of one-liners, Ward, I like it.
Rollback Bill says, I like the assembly or the Bandit, and the build looks really nice on the Rebel.
Thank you. So I'm just putting 2 washers underneath here, underneath kind of the rear holes, just to see how this affects everything.
Steady, Maverick, steady, says Keith.
Doing the surgery. Oh, he's talking about you
Oh, is
and
he?
your camera skills.
Ah. Nick says he's on fire. He's our word, okay? Key terms and assembly build from Robot. Keith says, yep.
Okay, so one of the things here is,
Tord says, hi from Paul and Tord.
hey guys.
Can we get a sneak peek of the SW190?
Yeah, we actually, about 10 minutes,
The new engine.
about 10 minutes before we started this video, the live, we were just test running the engine. So let's take a look at it. So she's all ready to go. We did the test run and setup on the engine. It's sort of packaged. Go through its last steps here, but there she is. She ran beautifully. Yeah, we put about like 5 minutes on it, ran it through the normal paces, did the setup and everything on it. So she's just cooling down now, and we'll get it all packaged up and sent off on Tuesday, because Monday's a holiday.
And Nick is trying to start the old, it's an assembly,
Oh,
not
yeah.
a build. We have been through this already.
Yeah, exactly.
And Roebuck says, show the new pump.
Oh yeah, the new pump. Yes. Good point.
Pump it up, pump it up.
There we go. Okay, I gotta get this
Tord says,
centered.
awesome, keep rocking, Jonathan.
Thank you. Okay, so now with washers underneath the back of that, that looks better. Yeah, I'm happier with that. Much happier. So yeah, without those washers in there, the engine would be pushing, like the exhaust isn't coming straight down the pipe. So I know some would say, well, you should keep the engine at the angle that it's at, at the rails. You should keep the engine at the angle the rails are at. Well, the downside is you almost have this happening. So if this is the pipe and this is the engine, we'll use this instead, right? So if the engine is sitting like this and the pipe is sitting like this, that's kind of what's happening right now. So now that we've lifted the back of the engine up, it's in line with the pipe. There's only so much you can do with the pipe. And there's essentially, if we leave the engine sitting where it's at, it's like this. And then we're going to be dropping the front of the pipe, so it's kind of sitting like that, which isn't right. So that's why we want to have everything in a nice straight line.
And I think
just
you'll
like
lose
that.
power too if you have it off.
Well, it also creates a hot spot in the pipe, right? So
Yeah.
if the engine's pointing at the bottom of the pipe, that's going to be getting hotter. It's not much. Like I just put a skinny 1/16 washer underneath the back of the engine, and that was it. So it doesn't need any more than that, I don't think. I think it's good just like that. So
She looks dead center.
yeah, well, then this engine too sits perfectly in the rails. Like it's it just goes boop, pops in. So that's really nice and easy. So the only other thing that we need to figure out here, and this is a little bit of, again, the behind the scenes stuff, is how do we get our position in the bell mouth? So when you have your bell mouth, I've got a pipe sitting up here that we can demonstrate it on. So when you have a bell mouth like this one's a little bit shorter than the CARF one that's in there. But basically you want this distance on a big bell mouth like this, you want this distance to be split. So if this distance here is, I'm just going to say 2 inches because that's kind of what it looks like, you want your exhaust cone, the end of your exhaust cone to be sitting right there. So in this case, you'd be about 25 millimeters off of the pipe, but on a big bell mouth, it's more about splitting it and putting it in the center of the bell mouth, and that's what we want to do there. I think it even mentions that in the manual. Align the engine so that the exhaust cone is exactly in the center of the thrust tube. They're talking about like this. So align the engine, so they're even saying that the engine may need alignment, which is normal. You might have to shim the engine with thin plywood strips. So they don't talk about the position in the bell mouth, but that's the common way to do it on a large bell mouth like that.
You also found that you got a blowback if you had it too far in or too far back.
It's different than a small bell mouth, right? If you have a small little lip on your pipe or a small little bell mouth, then you're doing the distance away from the actual stainless steel pipe. So you're doing 25 to 30 millimeters. But on the big bell mouths like this, you're always splitting the bell mouth. So what I'll do here is get a piece of wood.
Sheldon Campbell says the bell mouth goes into the pipe, making it hard to see where the pipe stops when you are looking at the inside of the bell mouth. How do you get an accurate measurement when installing the engine?
That's exactly what I'm going to show you guys right now. So we'll take the engine out. So step number 1, and this is kind of more about the rear, but we'll show you on all steps here. So step number 1, I'm going to go right to this edge right here, which is where the metal pipe comes over the bell mouth. So right on the edge where it starts to get into the big section. Okay? So what we do here now is we come to the back of the aircraft. Now because this pipe's not flat, we're just going to use the bottom edge here. So I'm going to take a fine Sharpie and we're going to mark on the right hand side where that pipe is. Okay, so that's our first measurement. That's the back, what I'll call the back measurement. Then I'm going to come in here. We'll take this piece of wood and we'll go forward. Now I need a straight edge. I'll be back in a sec.
Right here?
A small one. So we'll take our small straight edge, and now we're going to go to this outer face here of the bell mouth. We flush the wood to the outer face of the bell mouth. Just going to push that in. Okay, so now that's sitting flush with the forward face of the bell mouth. Now we'll come here, and we're going to mark the exact same thing, which is our forward measurement. Okay, so we've got our forward measurement and our back measurement. So now we'll measure this actual distance. So in millimeters, we are at 56 millimeters. Yeah, 56 millimeters. So that's 25, 26, 27, 28. So we're at 28 millimeters is where we need to. So 28 millimeters is where we need to run our exhaust. So I'm going to measure that. We'll measure it from the other side. So yes. So now, this, when that's in line with the back of our pipe, that gives us the location where our exhaust cone needs to sit in the bell mouth. Now it gets a little difficult on these angled pipes because I would normally come to the top and say, okay, that's kind of where we're at. So we'll have to do a little bit of adjustments here, but let's see how we can make that work. So we got that sitting in there. Now we'll do this, put the engine back in. Okay, about like that. And now we'll take a look down the back. And we'll see. So I'm just going to take this piece of wood and see where we're sitting at. So now I've touched it to the exhaust cone of the turbine, and we're too far forward by about a centimeter, so 10 millimeters. So if you look in there, I pushed it forward. Our little mark here on the wood, you got to come from this side.
Yeah,
Our little mark there on the wood is too far forward. So we need to move our engine back 10 millimeters. So we're about there. So I'll do the same thing now. So I'm just going to tuck that up, touch it against the exhaust cone, and we're still in like a millimeter or two. That's, you're splitting hairs at that point, but that is basically what we're looking for. The wood's touching the back of the exhaust cone right now. So that is how I find the location of the turbine in relation to the big bell mouths like that. So what I'll do now that we've got this location is I'm just going to take my fine Sharpie. I'm going to put 2 lines on the front of this engine rail. So I know where the engine's sitting forward and back. We still have to get it kind of positioned and angled and all that, but now I know exactly where that engine needs to go, which is good. So that's how we do it. Hopefully that makes sense. And now I should probably repeat all of that
Yes.
on the regular video.
Should.
Dang it!
One more time!
Ugh, I need a drink first.
I just skip it from this, that's all.
All right, bear with me one more time.
Sheldon Campbell says, thanks.
All right, so we are doing a live right now, guys, on the lighter side of RC After Dark. This is like a camera, what do you call it? An infinite camera loop, back and forth, back and forth. One of the questions that was brought up was, how do you find the center of the bell mouth? Because when you're dealing with a big bell mouth like this, you generally want the back of your exhaust cone to be sitting in the midway point in your bell mouth. So how do I find that? Well, I've taken a piece of wood, put it on the bottom of the pipe. Now I've gone to this location right there because that's where the metal pipe wraps around the outside of the bell mouth. Right that location right there. Luna. And then what we do is we come around the back side and we're going to put a little mark on the piece of wood. Now this tailpipe is at an angle, so you got to make sure you're using the same spot every time. Obviously we're using the bottom of the pipe. So we put a little mark there, and that simulates the back of the bell mouth. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put that stick forward. We're going to take our straight edge here and we're going to make sure we get that stick right in line with the front of the bell mouth, which we've done with our ruler. And then we come to the back of the pipe again, we draw another line. Now what we'll do is we measured this, and this is 56 millimeters, I think is the width here. We split the difference, 28 millimeters each, and that gives us our point right here, which is the center. So what we can do is we can take that, line that center mark up, which is the center of our bell mouth, and then what we'll do is we'll take our engine. Now we've already done this in the live stream, so I've got my marks already set. So I've put my marks back where they belong. And then from the back end here, I'm going to take that stick and I'm going to run it right against the bottom lip of the tail cone. Luna. There we go. So when I push it against the bottom lip of the tail cone, it is now sitting right at our mark, which is the middle of the bell mouth. So that's how we find the distance in and out of that bell mouth. On big bell mouths like this, you want to split that difference. It's very important, but that is the best way that I've found to do it. All right.
Nick said deja vu, and Craig from Tamworth, New South Wales, Australia.
Cool.
A lot of people from down under.
Yeah, lots of Aussies. All right, guys, so now we need to figure out pipe position, bell mouth position, turbine position. So the first thing I'm going to do is the height of our pipe. So what I'm looking at here is when I look down the pipe, I can see more space on the top of our turbine body versus the underside of our turbine body. Now, some of that might have to do with our angle of our turbine, which we will have to play with a little bit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those washers back underneath the back of the turbine. So we'll get those installed. Like that. one thing with this Zycoi is because it's so small, is we're only going to be mounting with 4 screws versus the 6 that are on the straps, but that's not an issue at all. I don't have a problem with that. I just need a little bit of weight on the back side or the front side of the turbine to get our angle proper. I don't know if that's going to stay. Don't breathe on it, Ward. Okay, so now when I look at that exhaust cone, so yes, those washers are definitely needed to bring the angle of the turbine proper. Now, when we angle that turbine up like that, I mean, you're talking about a 1/16 washer. Now, our turbine is centered all the way around the opening to turbine space there. So that looks really good. So now we've got an equal amount on the top, equal amount on the bottom. Our tail cone has a good profile to it. Is that light helpful or no?
I have that right down the center of the screen there. Hopefully they can see it.
So it looks like we can go from your guys' view, move the turbine over just a fraction. Not much, just a little bit. Put my weight back on the top. Come on, kicker, stay. There we go. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Okay, that looks bang on the money. Yeah, that looks good. And I think we're pretty much in our stock hole for the pipe. Yeah, pretty close. Okay, so I'm going to pull the turbine out again, and we are going to get that bell mouth mounted on the other side that we still haven't screwed in yet. And we do need to pre-drill our hole because we will be going into a new hole. Well, maybe not. Okay. And on this one, we're going to use some medium CA because we've got a bit of a gap there.
Keith says he has to go, but we'll always be watching.
Thanks, Keith.
For you
Appreciate
hope
it.
to fly the Eagle tomorrow.
Thanks for tuning in. Okay. There we go. Okay, so bell mouth is now very well fastened. Excellent. Now we'll put the turbine back in.
For who the bell tolls.
You're full of them today, Ward. Okay, just using our marks again, pushing the turbine over on the rails just to this side of the plane, and we're going to put a little bit of weight on the front because our washers angle the front down a little bit. There we go. We'll check that position one more time. All right. So that looks really good. Happy with that. Yeah, looks awesome. Cool. So that is pipe mounting and turbine mounting.
Tord wants to, did you paint the interior or did it come like that?
Oh no, I painted it. It looks, honestly, Tord, I couldn't leave it the way it was. I mean, it's fine, but I'm glad the owner of the aircraft gives me the freedom to be able to do what I need, because I would have a really hard time keeping the aircraft the way it was, unpainted. Now, I don't mind an unpainted aircraft if we're doing a bunch of trays, right? Because you can hide everything, you can paint the trays and really make it look good that way. But in this case, with everything wide open, it deserves to be painted. So yes, I did paint it. Luna, come on.
Vanderbroek gives a devil's fingers and he says, "For whom the bell tolls" by Metallica.
So yeah, it definitely didn't come like this, but I think it really helps finish off the aircraft. So, okay, so we are going to be using wood screws to mount the turbine. We're going to use Allen key wood screws. So I need to grab those from the trailer because I don't think I have any in here. So Ward, take them on a little tour of the inside. I will be back in a moment.
The plane goes, the thing won't fit in there. Making ice cream cones for Katie. That's for his lights. That's so awesome. He made a little one for me. It's not good. It's plastic. And he's back already. Thank you.
Okay, so we're using some nice big Allen key, so 3mm head on them with the pan head and nice aggressive threads. Love these screws for this type of stuff. Also, they work great. Well, they're servo mounting screws is what they, I think, actually are. But I've been using them on lots of stuff like this. So we're just going to hold the turbine in its spot. It's pretty solid no matter what we do there. And I like to drill this stuff by hand. And then what we'll do is we'll take our CA, drop it in there, and do the screw up. Oh, I think they're 2.5mm, not 3. 2.5mm tool. Now this turbine may come back out while we're doing other stuff like grinding and things, but it's nice to get it in there, get the screws all fastened, and then you know the actual position is set.
And Nick says, yeah, they are good. Don't pull through like normal screws.
Exactly. And many people would say you need to use, in this situation, you need to use blind nuts. I hate blind nuts, especially for even landing gear. They're just a terrible
Can't
thing.
see them.
Problem with them is they're fairly easy to cross thread, but a little bit different situation with a turbine mount. But on landing gear, if you ever have a rough landing, I would rather have my screws pull out and maybe do a little bit of surface damage rather than like completely destroying the structure of the gear plates and stuff if you're using blind nuts and the appropriate hardware. All right.
Tiger RC wants to know how long does it take to get take CARF to make and get the jet delivered to your door?
It's going to depend on a lot of different factors, so that's not a clear answer, and that kind of goes with any manufacturer. So if you placed an order today on an aircraft that needed to be built, you're going to get put in the queue, but if they're already doing some production runs, yours may get made a little bit quicker, and then you also run into the shipping end of things. So if your aircraft gets made and you happen to catch a container coming over to North America or wherever you're located, then your plane will get to you a little bit quicker. This one took, I think, a couple months from the time of order. So again, it depends on what they have on hand. If you order one of their stock schemes and they happen to have it like located in California, then awesome. You can get it within a couple days. So. Then a company like Skymaster, generally the planes will take 16-ish weeks, but depending on what they have going on, they may take a little bit longer, and then it's about 6 weeks on the boat coming over, and then it has to be distributed throughout North America, so that also affects things.
Arnold Claycomb says, couple of months, 6 months, still waiting for mine.
Yep. Is that a CARF or a Skymaster?
I think he was answering to a CARF.
Yeah, and it depends on the model too. Okay, so that looks awesome. Really nice. Really nice, Ward. You did a great job mounting that engine.
It was kind of exhausting, but I piped up at the right time. And there you go. That's what it looks like. And we got Algardo wants to know, are we planning another radio test? Yes. Will you modify it from the original?
Well, I don't know how much to get into, but I can get into a lot of it. So the radio test went out, and Powerbox got a hold of me, Powerbox USA, and the owner of Powerbox, Richard. The first one was Powerbox USA, and they were not happy with the test results. They made some suggestions. I still had the radio here. I said, well, it's a great opportunity to do a revision on the test. I offered, and they declined and asked for the radio back. So unfortunately, there won't be a revised test with their radio. If somebody else was to give me a Powerbox radio to use, I would definitely retest it. I was accused, I'm going to go into some more stuff. I was accused of, and if you guys are on the forums, you know this stuff. So let's just bring it out in the open, because there's been a whole bunch of discussions on the Powerbox forum, on RC groups. I've read through all those threads. It's not like I'm not on those different boards and forums. I've been slandered on RC Universe. So this is what was written to me, or about me, from Richard. Now this was translated from his language to English via Google Translate. he said, this is from Richard, the owner of Powerbox, Saturday, August 26th. Casper, because he lets himself be celebrated for the nonsense instead of simply taking the video offline after it was explained to him very clearly what is wrong. It's just not about finding out who has the best radio system, but about clicks, hyping the system of his sponsors, and ultimately his ego. So, and then he also goes on to say, don't worry, this test was a fail. This test is a fail, waste of time and fuel. First of all, let's clear the air. I'm not sponsored by any radio manufacturer. I used to be a JR team pilot and also a JR dealer. I still am listed on their dealer website. I gave up my JR sponsorship last year, early in the year, and I switched over to Jetty. Now, I walked away from my discount at JR, and I now pay full price for my Jetty products. I paid full price for my radio, I pay full price for all my receivers, and I am a blip in the wind to Jetty. I'm not sponsored by Jetty or any other radio manufacturer. So this test had nothing to do with Jetty, had nothing to do with the Radio Master or any of those other companies that did really well, or Free Sky. I don't plan on ever buying a Free Sky. To be honest with you guys, if I was to ever use another radio other than Jetty, it would be Powerbox. Maybe not now because of the way they're coming at me, but that would be my second alternative to a radio system. David, and these are the notes I made on my phone. David Gladwin said about me on RC Universe on August 29th, 2023. He also sent me an email as well. Some of you guys may have seen the lighter side of RC video comparing radios, in which he slams core. He clearly does not understand RF propagation using patch antenna. No, I don't. I'm not a radio engineer. I'm not a RF patch antenna engineer. I'm not an engineer. No, I'm not smart. I'm very unsmart. And but I did not slander Powerbox. I did not slam Powerbox or any radio manufacturer. If anybody watches that video, when I did the first Powerbox test, I was shocked that they didn't perform that well. That's why we did the second test, because I actually thought at the beginning of that test that the Powerbox core radio was going to blow every other radio out of the water. That's what I thought. Didn't happen. I didn't slander anybody, and at the end of the video, I go on to say that every radio is awesome. I would fly any of my planes, not any of my planes, let me back up. I would encourage people to fly any plane with any radio system because they're all great. If you like Radio Master, enjoy it. If you like Powerbox, enjoy it. If you like Jetty, enjoy it. Free Sky, awesome. Have fun with it. Use whatever you want because they're all fine. They're all going to pilot your plane just fine. Now, people were asking me to take this, I'm going on a bit of a rant here. People were asking me to take this video down. Powerbox asked me to take the video down. Multiple core users like David Gladwin sent me an email saying you should take this video down. I'm not taking the video down. I changed the title of the video. If anybody cares to know, I did change the title of the video from the Ultimate Radio Test after about 5 days. I think I changed it to the most hated radio test on YouTube or something like that because it's funny. But I'm not taking the video down, and the point of the video was to take however many radios we had, 7 or 8, I can't remember what it was. Yeah. 7 or 8 radios, put them under these conditions and test them under these conditions. If they don't work well, oh well. If they worked amazing, oh well. We took radios and we tested them in this situation. That's it, simple as that. Had nothing to do with slandering or building up of any radio manufacturer. That's my rant about it. Yeah, video's not coming down, so. That's the radio test. I don't think we're doing another one. I got some cool offers from people to go down to one fellow, I can't remember his name, but he wanted me to go down to Washington. And he's a full-scale pilot. He said we could do the radio test going up in his airplane. I forget what airplane it is, but I don't have most of the radios anymore. That's the thing. I still have my Jetty. I still have my Spectrum. The Powerbox is returned to Powerbox. I've got the old Futaba sitting over there. I've got Bill's Radio Master sitting over there. Still have my, I forget what it was called, the Duke or whatever Radio Master radio that they sent to me. I don't have the Free Sky anymore. So anyways, I don't think the radio test is going to be redone unless people really stepped up and offered the radios up and we redid it. So that's the radio test in a nutshell, and that's all the crap that people have been going on about the whole thing.
Okay, well, Nick said, no need to explain yourself. Nope, leave it up. Algardo said, sorry to hear that. You were fair to those radios systems. I think you were too kind to them. Loved your radio test, and you were totally fair.
That's what I think
That's
too.
Arnold Weber. And Tiger RC, it's not your fault the transmitters performed how they did. You took your time to test each and every radio. At the end of the day, it's not like it was a rigged test.
And here's another point. Thank you guys for those comments. Here's another point about the radio test. Like, I don't care what the results were. That's the thing, is like if Jetty did poorly and Powerbox did amazing, I'd still fly with Jetty. Like, the results were what they were, and I don't really care. Yeah, so people are so passionate about their radio choice. I think I said this in the video or in one of the comments or something, or when I shared it on Facebook. Like, people defend their radio choice to the grave. It's like the one thing that they will not move on. You know, they'll never try something else. This is the best radio system ever. Who cares what people use? Use whatever you want to use and be happy with it.
Yep. Wouter Van Den Broek, sorry about that. Your assessment was absolutely fair, and you never said a bad word about any of them.
Exactly.
They are moaning about. What the hell are they moaning about?
Yeah.
Best way. Maybe they sent you a lemon was from Engardio.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. And that could have been, somebody brought up a good point with my Spectrum. Because last year we were flying the little MiG and we lost signal. You know, the results we had with Spectrum could have been my IX20 radio that I have. Now we've flown Katie's Carbon Cub with my Spectrum radio, and it's been fine. So it's not like every plane we fly with it gets damaged or loses signal, but so you know, you never know. It could be a radio issue too.
Tord says, your test was completely neutral. Futaba didn't do the best, but I put in a bunch of flights since, and I'm still a happy camper.
Exactly.
Craig says, I was shocked at the response from Powerbox.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like I said during my little rant there. If I wasn't flying Jetty, I'd be flying Powerbox. But I think that that option's been cut off. With well, I mean, number one, they would never even sell me a radio anymore. But I don't think I would ever fly Powerbox anymore just because of their response. So
Nick says, don't see anyone else doing this type of test. So suck it up, buttercups.
exactly. Thank you, Nick.
Craig says he's putting Jetty in all his aircraft.
And it's been real funny to go on these forums and posts and stuff and see all you guys chiming in there for me in defense of me. I love it. Thank you so much for that, because I read all that stuff, and it makes a big difference. It makes me smile when I see that happening. So thank you.
Walter says, just for foamies. Wow, quote of the year.
Yeah.
And Waz says they should build a bridge and get over it.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I think it's all sort of calmed down now. The emails have stopped. I haven't looked at the forums for a couple days, but yeah, it's pretty nuts.
And I can vouch, it was done very fair.
Yeah.
We always comment, making sure, no, just do the test. I'm not going to make a big deal over what happened.
Exactly.
Because everybody likes what they want.
Yeah, it was more about just a fun test.
Yeah.
Like, why would we have to remove the test? Like, how is it any different than than buying 10 of some product from different people and testing them. It's like, it'd be like me buying all the different tissues out there and saying, man, this Kleenex did very poorly. And then Kleenex coming after me and saying, well, you can't run a test like that. You're slandering our product. No, I'm not. I'm just trying the different tissues. I just happen to have a bit of more influence in YouTube land because I've got some people that follow me. Like, how ridiculous is that?
And it's not like you tell them, oh, they have to use this type of radio.
Exactly.
It's find a radio you like and let's work with it.
Yep. You got it.
And yes, I do have a Jetty. And also Spectrum.
We finally set it up on something today,
Yeah.
on the turbine test stand. All right, so we took the engine back out.
Edgardo says probably they can come up with their own test and recover from it.
Oh yeah, and they will. Like, well, apparently they're putting their own test together, which is fine. Have at her. If you're going to put your own test together, awesome. Love to see it.
Arnold says, I was surprised with Frisky. I use them happily, but have issues in noisy environments till I switch to the twin system.
So when you say twin, is that using, I must be using 2.4 and the 900, I'm assuming?
Benedict said they should have tested them before selling them. Arnold says dual 2.4.
I'll be back in 2 seconds.
And Edgardo says he's a Foodaba camper as well.
All right, guys, we're going to have to cut this live a little bit short. Thanks, guys, for watching. It's been fun. I got a little exuberant getting this all geared up and talking about the radio system, but thanks, guys, for watching, and we'll see you next time.